Have you ever thought that your life will turn upside down in the blink of an eye? Have you ever thought it would be a game of chance, just like heads or tails? Well, I haven't, till I had to experience it myself. And this is my story. When the conflict started in Syria, I, like many others, had no idea how long and destructive it would be. No one knew it would cause massive displacement and loss of lives. No one expected it to take many loved ones from us, ones we spent countless hours with. And certainly, no one expected the country to be in the same situation it is in now, after almost 12 years of conflict. When it all started, I was 15 years old, fresh out of middle school, quite happy with my studies, my life in general. It wasn't perfect, that's for sure, but it was promising. But little did I know that all of that is about to change for the absolute worst. I mean, I had to go through high school during the conflict, through dental school during the conflict, and even into my professional life, up until some months ago when I arrived here. Growing up in an active conflict changed me to the core and on many levels. And it was a big thing for me, especially since I was going through this critical phase of cognitive development. The first thing that comes to mind is me starting to appreciate many things that I had taken for granted, only because I started to lose them. Prime example of that would be safety and stability. Living in an utmost unstable reality was like, what would tomorrow look like? Heck, what would the remainder of today look like? No one knows. No one even dares to guess that. Everything we feel, do, plan is at risk. And it seemed like we're living just for the day by day, nothing more. I also started focusing on what I had more thoroughly instead of what I didn't have. Because I had a lot of things. I had, and still have, a very loving family. I had good friends, studying a degree I like. I have good health. I'm alive. I realized I didn't pay enough attention to all of that. And certainly I wasn't thankful enough for all the good in my life in the middle of all the darkness. Now, interestingly, all of these changes, I never really felt them. They integrated themselves slowly and gradually to my life. And only after some time, I took a look back at my old self, at all of these days that came and went. Gosh, they changed me a lot. However, not all of these changes are good. As you might expect, the vast majority of them are quite the opposite. For instance, how we become, in the same gradual style, desensitized to tragedies. Because we live through them on a daily basis. News of suffering and death surround us. They become our new norm. They become our new everyday life. And even if we try to disconnect ourselves from this reality, from all the news around us, we're surrounded with too many kinds of pressure. From the basics. Electricity, we have a few hours of it a day. Internet, quite unstable and slow. Let alone that many opportunities don't allow Syrians to apply, just for being Syrians. And on that, I want to share a little story about a certain program, global program, that is advertised for over 190 nationalities all over the world. But when I dug a little bit deeper, I discovered that Syrians, among very few other nationalities, are not allowed to apply. What else? Money. With the currency devaluation, it's not like you can spend much of it anyway. Besides, where and what are you going to spend it on anyway, right? So what would you do if you were in this position? How would you feel? How would you cope with this situation? Well, for me, many times, I felt absolute hopelessness. I mean, what's the point of doing anything we're doing if we can't be remotely close to predicting the future? We're alive just for the sake of being alive at this exact moment, and that's about it. I tried and failed. There's nothing I can do to change my reality. I cannot change something that is much, much bigger than me. I had all of these thoughts and more at different times with different intensity. But one day, sitting alone in the darkness of my room, I decided, enough with the blackness, I'm going towards the white light of hope. Because what's the alternative? Just sit there? Waste my life? Give up? What about all of these people who faced hardship in their lives and never quit? Well, I might as well follow their steps and try again and again and again. A program or a scholarship rejected me? Well, I guess I'll try again next year or search for others. What are you going to do about electricity? Well, I'll try to be more productive, make the most use of it while it's there. Heck, I even changed my sleeping schedule to match electricity's availability. Emailed someone to connect and work on something, didn't get a response. I'll email 100, 200. I'm gonna search, I'm gonna work harder. There's gotta be something for me. I'm gonna create my own path. Because what's the worst that could happen? Fail and nothing changes? But that makes all the difference, right? Between sitting there and surrendering to my reality and making my best effort. If I fail, I know deep down that I did my best, and I knew also I'm not going to stop until I succeeded. And look at me now. Through all of these efforts and sleepless nights, managed to finish over 80 online courses, despite the electricity and internet issues. I have a wonderful global network of individuals and organizations all over the world. I'm giving talks and lectures around the world. I'm doing a master's degree at King's, and I'm speaking in front of you today. Many would call it luck. And indeed, luck played a role. But the trick was to have luck by my side. Milton Berle once said, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And I knew, given my circumstances, that I need to build not one door, but 100. I mean, think of it statistically. The more paths you explore, the better chance you have of finding one that leads to your goals. Now, Of course, I wouldn't be in the place I am in today without the massive support that I received from my family and friends, who I can never truly repay. They were there for me. They supported me in all ways possible. They believed in me when many didn't. They created this haven that I could always go to when things go dark. No one has been blessed with better people around them. And I know every single person of them contributed in a way and helped me become the person I am today. Regardless of what that contribution might be, even the smallest of them. I get many people tell me that sometimes their problems are overwhelming and we cannot do much to help. But no, you can always help these people in your circles who are facing overwhelming problems. You can always do something for them. Even a couple of words of encouragement. That would definitely help them go through it. It did for me. Many times I just needed someone to talk to. And just telling me that you're going to make it actually made me believe that I'm going to make it. Now, obviously, not everyone I met along the way encouraged me. Many did quite the opposite. They actively discouraged me. And there will always be people who will do and say things all the time to discourage us, regardless of what we do. What we can do, however, is control how we react to that. And for me, I had to teach myself to push forward, believe in myself, and let all of these comments and actions of discouragement, let it all roll off my back so I can focus on what I'm trying to do and do it right. Now, I know my circumstances do not apply to many, but my story today is a story of a fight. One fight out of many. And we all have fights. They're just different places, different rules. But the fights are always going to be there. So if I can make something work, then you can. Everyone can. So go out there, build your doors, make it happen. And if you don't succeed, well, the journey is definitely worth it. I hope my story today proves yet again that life is not just completely black or completely white, and is definitely more than just a game of heads or tails. That's it for me. Thank you.